This is Fox 40 in Focus, an in-depth look at the issues you told us matter most.
Welcome to another edition of Fox 40's In Focus. I'm your host, Lonnie Wong. We're here at Eureka School in Granite Bay, and it's at public schools like this where parents expect their kids to learn the basics, reading, writing, and arithmetic. But more and more, parents also expect schools to teach their kids social skills, and that's where a unique program called A Touch of Understanding comes in. We're now in the gym of Eureka School and here talking with the founder of Touch of Understanding, Leslie Dodora.
Hi.
Tell us what the program is all about.
Touch of Understanding is a disability awareness program that allows school children to have a hands-on opportunity to understand what it's like to have a disability. They get to do a lot of activities, and then they meet people who have disabilities who share their insight and experiences with the students.
Why do you think young people need this kind of training or exposure?
Well, I don't think it's just young people, but I think everybody can tend to be a little frightened about what they're unfamiliar with. And so, especially young people who haven't had the opportunity to perhaps interact with people with disabilities can be afraid. Some children fear that they might catch the disability, or some are just afraid of something that seems so different, or afraid of the artificial arm or the leg. And then with a touch of understanding, when they learn that it's simply a tool that people use, the fear is gone and it's replaced with respect for the skill that it takes to use that tool.
Sometimes that fear manifests itself in mocking behavior or picking on kids or not really understanding the emotions of the person with a disability.
It's very true. We were called to a school in a local area by a mom who found that her son with muscular dystrophy, who was losing the ability to walk like his peers, this little third grade boy was found hiding behind the garbage dumpster at recess because his classmates were teasing him so badly. And it wasn't out of being terribly mean, they just didn't understand that as they were getting stronger, he was getting weaker due to his illness. So.
Well, it's important to realize that this program isn't just about lecturing, although you do some of that too. You speak with children on a one-on-one basis, but you try to make a bigger impact by having sort of this hands-on experience.
That's very true, and actually this school, we're talking with fifth graders, and many of these students went through this program in second grade, which is 3 years ago, and a lot of them remember things that I said word for word. The reason we're back here doing this is to reinforce this message before they go to junior high, when a lot of times it's a time for students to feel very vulnerable themselves, and so that's when they tend to act out in ways that are unkind to others.
Well, let's go over here. We're at one of the stations here that you introduce kids to, and what were you looking at here?
At this station, the students are becoming familiar with braces and artificial arms and legs. And this is one of the stations where the students sometimes are quite repulsed when they first see the artificial arms and legs, and especially the hook, because they kind of connect it with Captain Hook and a fear.
If you'd like to feel how strong this hook is, just hold your hand out just like that.
By the time they're done with this station, learning how all these tools work, they have a respect for, first of all, how the tools are constructed and how helpful they are to allow people to accomplish their goals.
Now we have an array of prosthetics here, and they look kind of strange, but this is definitely something that would catch the attention of kids and have them remember a lesson like this.
They definitely do. And what's really nice too is that they can learn about these when no one is actually using them. So when they ask the questions, no one's feelings are hurt by the fact that children sometimes find these very upsetting. They can learn about them at a time and ask questions when there's not anyone, who actually is dependent upon that tool.
Right. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at some of the other stations here. And you have some kids sitting over here in front of what looks like a mirror.
Yes, they're doing a mirror writing activity to understand the frustration of a learning disability. So what the mirror is doing is mixing the messages up in their brain. If you've ever tried to cut your hair by looking in a mirror, you would know that things get really confusing. And so the kids are just trying to complete a ditto by looking in the mirror. And we've had children say, Mister, you're hurting my brain when they're trying to do this. And on, we're hoping that they understand is that a learning disability is simply a different way of learning. It does not mean the person is less intelligent, and we focus on the fact that many of our leaders have had learning disabilities. They're very, very intelligent. They simply learn a different way.
So on the schoolyard, you get comments like this all the time about kids being dumb or stupid
Oh, yeah.
or can't understand. This puts a whole different light on viewing kids with learning disabilities.
It absolutely does. As a matter of fact, we had one high school student say that when she finished the mirror writing, she looked at me and she said, my sister has learning disabilities. And she said, I'm going to be a whole lot more patient with her from now on. So, and just last week at a school in Wilton, we had the opportunity to talk to students, and one child said, my friend has learning disabilities, and she introduced her to that friend, and it was just an openness that we could share that yes, she had a learning disability, but it didn't at all mean anything negative about her. It was simply a difference.
Leslie, we're at another station here. Explain what these kids are learning.
These children are using slate and stylus to write their name in Braille so that they understand the need for Braille and that it's in so many public places, and they will understand better how it's created, that in order to write Braille using a slate and stylus, you have to write it backwards to be able to read it on the opposite side forward.
Obviously, this is not designed to teach them Braille in 15 minutes, because it seems like it's very difficult to do, but that's sort of the whole point.
That is one of the ideas, because there again, we're stepping away from the fear aspect and moving toward the respect, where the children, once they learn what it takes to understand the Braille alphabet and learn the Braille alphabet, they have a better appreciation and respect for people who use it every day.
And of course, people who learn Braille, it's a whole different system of communicating and something that they have to practice and learn sort of on a different level as well as the regular school.
Well, what amazed me is one of our volunteers made it very clear to me that as sighted people, we are constantly reinforced in our reading abilities, because as we travel down the road, we're seeing signs. Printed words are always in front of us. Someone learning to read Braille actually has to sit down to do that, because they're not bombarded with it like we are.
When we come back, we'll take a look at some more disabled skills that students here are exposed to in A Touch of Understanding.
You're watching Fox 40 in Focus.
We're back with Leslie Diodoro, who is the founder of A Touch of Understanding. We're outside at another of the workstations that you have for these kids. And what are they learning?
At this station, they're dividing their time between using wheelchairs and using white mobility canes.
Okay, does everybody know what these are? Okay, I'm going to show you how to use this cane. See the little loop on the top? Put your hands in it. You know why you have that on there?
The tiny one or
This big one. Yes, because if you drop it, you won't be able to find it again. Now, I also want you to keep your cane in front of you, way in front of you, because you don't want to be walking and hit yourself in the tummy, right? I want you to tap back and forth, back and forth.
I can't see. I can't see. Sorry if I hit you, anyone. Oh, where am I? Okay, where's the table? I did it!
Okay, let's
Yeah! I tried to touch the fence. I didn't touch the fence. I thought somebody's ladder's the table. This is my sorry.
Great job.
Leslie, the kids look like they're having a lot of fun out here, but there's a purpose behind all of this.
The wheelchairs are really the thing that anchor this experience in the kids' memory. And it does look like a lot of fun, and they do enjoy it, but they also understand that they're going to stand up out of this wheelchair and move on, and that someone who really needs a wheelchair isn't able to do that. So again, we certainly don't want to push an idea of pity. We want students to know that these are wonderful tools that allow people to do things they couldn't do otherwise, including a lot of sporting activities.
I was noticing that they were having fun, but they are realizing how difficult it is to maneuver in a wheelchair.
They are.
Oh my gosh, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, this is a little hard. I don't know how to stop. Oh shoot, I'm gonna run into a table. Oh, stop!
One of the things we focus
Your
on
table.
is, when you see someone who uses a wheelchair, don't look at their legs. We know there's an issue going on with their legs. Check out how strong their upper body is, because in order to use that chair, they've really, really had to build up their upper arms.
What did you learn today?
How they can use stuff that we don't use usually, and how people look at them different without staring at them. Like, now that you know what they're going through, you can understand. Yeah,
Do you think you treat people differently now?
probably much different, because I know two people very well that have disabilities, and I used to look at them very different.
I learned that people have disabilities, but they're not really different from us. They just use wheelchairs, and they're just not really different from us. They just have missing parts, and they're just same as us.
Were you surprised at how hard it was to do the things that they have to do?
Being blind and using the stick was pretty hard because I ran into the fence, and yeah. But the wheelchairs was pretty fun, but I understand that their arms might get really tired after the day they've been using them.
We're here now with Bob Schultz, who's the superintendent of the Eureka Union School District, and the Touch of Understanding has been doing programs in the district for a number of years now.
Yes, we're excited because the program actually started here. Leslie started the program in our district, and first at one school, and it's just grown to where it comes back every year and goes to most of our schools.
We're talking a little bit about how school these days isn't just about learning how to read, write, and arithmetic, the 3 R's. A lot of kids and some parents expect schools now to teach their kids social skills and social conventions. And how does this fit into all of that?
Well, a lot of it is just making sure that every child feels welcome here, and this kind of program makes it so that if a student has a disability, they're still going to feel very comfortable and part of the group, and it goes beyond sort of sympathy for them. It goes to where that, wow, this is really hard to walk in this brace or to have this learning disability, and I think it gives them a lot more respect for other children, and so we don't have kids with disabilities or kids that look a little different being made fun of. It makes them feel part of the group.
And that's something as an educator you always worry about, how accepted kids, so whether it's a disability or their ethnicity or some other factor that sets them apart from other kids.
Yeah, and I think they can generalize it to a lot of areas. It isn't just you have to be in a wheelchair. They realize anybody that looks different or acts a little differently, maybe instead of being afraid of them or embarrassed, maybe I'll try and understand them. And that's the whole point of Touch of Understanding.
How often do kids get their notions about other people from their parents? Is it possible that sometimes parents have that same unease and that they sort of unconsciously or consciously pass them on to their kids?
Well, the unease, I think sometimes you'll see somebody in a wheelchair or see somebody with a brace, and I think an adult sometimes sort of says, well, don't say anything about it. And after they've been through this, or you see young kids, they'll just go, what's that? And they ask questions, and I think the people that have the disabilities say that's what they'd rather have people do instead of being embarrassed. Come up and talk to them.
Is this one case where sometimes after the kids go through this program, they can teach their parents perhaps?
I think that's one of the goals, is just to go back so the parents understand, because maybe the parents didn't grow up. Some of the students we have in school now may not have even been in school at another time, and so the parents just didn't have that experience. So it's a good chance for them to share.
You're watching Fox 40 in Focus.
You rely a lot on volunteers for this project.
We're totally dependent on volunteers. They're amazing.
And they're disabled volunteers, so they're speaking firsthand about how they get through life, basically.
Absolutely. They're sharing about the tools that they use, the insight that they have, and the experiences that they have.
And we're going to be talking to one of these volunteers, Alina Contreras, who has been with a Touch of Understanding for how long now have you been working?
About a year.
And what attracted you to this program?
I've always wanted to do outreach and disability awareness, and I've done a little bit through 4-H with the guide dog puppies, talking about going to different service organizations, talking about guide dogs, and when I heard about this group, I thought, wow, this is really great. I'd like to talk to the children, and because I think if you start when they're young, they'll have a better understanding and be more tolerant and have a more, understanding of what it's like to be disabled and just treat everybody normal. And I mean,
What do you
normal
think?
in quotes. But
What do you think about this first-hand approach? Kids seem to be interested in dealing with this apparatus like the canes and the wheelchairs.
I think it's great because you don't really see that during, a lot of people are afraid to come up and talk to a disabled person. So it's great that they can see the tools, and when they see them out in public, they're not like, what is that?
Right.
And I have found that's unfortunate, but I used to use a cane till I was 18, a long cane, and people hardly ever came up and talked to me, and it was kind of like I was invisible, but as soon as I got the dog, everybody started coming over and asking about the dog, and it's like, it was more like an icebreaker, so.
I was going to say that even though you're blind, you feel that tension that people often have when they come up to or trying to decide how to deal with a disabled person.
Yeah, or even if they, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, and I try and be positive and.
So when kids meet you, some kids and some adults have never actually met a blind person, and they have this hesitation, how do I approach this? But affording that opportunity to meet with you, talk to you, pet your guide dog, like you said, sort of breaks the ice a little bit.
I found that, yeah. With the cane, it seems that people are more fearful, or maybe I wouldn't say fearful, but more hesitant. I want people to come up and ask me questions and talk to me about my dog, and I want to show them that I'm just as capable as everybody else, and I get along in the world, and it go to school, and
You get the feeling that you're helping other blind people too by giving this kind of information or exposure to kids, so that when they grow up or when they talk to their friends, they'll sort of spread the message that you were talking about, that you're an ordinary person and should be viewed as
I think
such.
so, yeah. Other blind or deaf or any disabled person, or even elderly, people sometimes are afraid of talking to the elderly, but they have a lot of wisdom in it.
We're now going to be talking to another volunteer with a touch of understanding, Micah Penketh, who's been with the organization for a number of years now.
About almost 10 years now, yes.
Tell us about your situation and your disability.
Well, I'm a bilateral below elbow amputee. It means I have no hands. And I started this program about 10 years ago because it did me good to talk about my loss. So I found Leslie Dodora and her father ran this program, and I've been with them forever since. And I enjoyed talking about my loss. After a while, I realized that kids got a lot of good effect of me talking to them also.
Tell us how you lost your hands and elbows.
I lost my hands in a race car crash in the Bonneville Salt Flats in September 1993. I don't know how fast I was going, possibly as high as approaching 300 miles an hour.
So you're used to being a take-charge guy, a physical guy, if you're racing cars.
Sure. I've lived all my life in the fast lane, and I'll never get out of it. I enjoy life. Life's a great treasure we have. I enjoy it, and life gets better every day.
I think that attitude is what A Touch of Understanding is all about, imparting that to kids and to let people know that people with disabilities do have lives.
Well, exactly. I tell the kids that my hands are nothing but tools. Their father's car is a tool. Their mother's oven is a tool. A pencil is a tool. And my hands are just tools that I use to make life easier. And without these tools, I couldn't do a lot of things. So I kind of say a wheelchair, crutches, my prosthetic hands, a pencil, a car are simply tools that we use to make life easier for us.
You can understand how kids sometimes maybe don't want to approach someone like yourself because you look strange, or maybe they're afraid of your artificial
that's
hand.
true. They're afraid because they just don't know about us. And our goal here is to convince you that we're all the same people. Inside we're all the same. Some of us wear glasses, some don't. Some have long hair, some have short hair. Some have dark skin, some have light skin. We all like peanuts though, don't we? We like popcorn? We like to go to parties. We want to be invited to parties, don't we? We all want to have friends. Okay. And to forget friends, you got to treat your friends nice, don't you? So don't ever forget that, because inside we're all the same people. We use different tools sometimes. Think of my hands as tools. Stop that, back. A good hand. It does that sometimes. But your parents' car is a tool. Your razor scooter is a tool. Your mother's oven is a tool. And my hands are tools. And some of us use these tools to make life easier for us. We have people with amputees, people that are blind, all kinds of disabilities. And the kids get a real variety of disabilities. And the kids are surprised that we can get out and do things. We do a good job doing things.
Do you think disabled kids especially bear the brunt of the misunderstanding?
They sure do. They're singled out. They're at times laughed at. They're pointed at because they're a little bit different. And like I was saying before, they are no different than anybody else inside of the same people. They just use different tools. And they look different on the outside.
When we talk to the kids, and we just talked to a few kids earlier, they seem to get the message. I mean, their outlook is entirely different.
These kids were a great group today. These good kids, and they really picked up on things fast. And that's the reward that we get talking to these kids, because the kids get so much out of the program. You know, I tell the kids to stay in school because they are my future. They're going to run my country in the future. And I want good, smart people to run my country. And by doing this program, hopefully we're making kids better and better citizens.
You're watching Fox 40 in Focus.
Welcome back, and I want to thank Leslie Dodora for showing us your program here at Eureka School.
Thank you for this opportunity to share it.
And it's important to note that you're a nonprofit organization and you raise funds throughout the year.
We do. We're very dependent on individual donations and on our volunteers, as you can see how important they are to us.
And how often do you present programs like this?
Every Thursday and Friday at this point, but the demand is growing, so we hope to be able to make more presentations each week. We present to about 4,000 kids a year.
So that's a lot of kids, and you're spreading a lot of knowledge around, obviously.
We are, and we hear that it lasts for years and years. We have kids in college say that they remember doing it when they were in second and third grade, so we know the impact lasts.
Thank you again, Leslie, with a touch of understanding, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Fox 40's In Focus. I'm your host, Lonnie Wong.